I wanted to do more stuff by now, but Android and Mac do not get along. It's taken way too long for me just to get to this point. I still want to jam and record some shit. Why can't we all just get along?
So, I got some exciting news there, that, there's something waiting for me in the mail now, And, I was, looking forward to, going to Canada Post Office and just, picking up my hoser of a package, But, all this snow started coming down again, we didn't have enough, And now, no one wants to drive, and, everyone's going, half a kilometer an hour, If this was the warm weather, we'd be getting lapped by snails right now, This is just, move your hosers,
I know before I was talking about how I buggered up my nice orange micro terror, and I was really disappointed in myself for doing that. Well, I don't know if this makes me determined or just a sucker for punishment. This came in the mail yesterday. Didn't have the time to pick it up, but I stopped by today. Guess we'll have to see how this turns out. I haven't unboxed this yet. I just moved this stinking idiot up here last night. And what is with all of this mess? Come on, you're supposed to look presentable. There's nothing but garbage and blankets up here. Gonna have a quick opening of this thing because I haven't had the chance to look at it yet. And ooh, look at that little lunchbox. There it is. There it is. Little lunchbox. Everything's set at noon. You know, the dials are a little bit different than I need those parts for later. I don't want to just dump them out. On here, for the Micro Terror, it says volume, tone, and gain. On the Micro Dark, it's volume, shape, and gain. It's actually the same controls as my little Orange Crush Mini. You know, this thing does not sound good as an amp, but it actually works pretty decent as an actual amp to plug into a cabinet. It actually does a pretty good job. And ever since I borked this idiot, I've had to, I was using that for a while until I finally caved in and bought this thing. Now, I was torn originally between getting the Terror and the Dark before I ended up buying this. Again, this broke because it was my fault. Just the way I had things set up in here before, I really didn't have much room between my big speaker over here and my bed. When I was done using it, I would unplug the amp and the speaker so I could rest the speaker closer to my bed. But unfortunately, I would go to use the amp the next day and I would forget to plug everything back in. So then I powered this thing on. I wish it was only once, but instead it happened repeatedly because I am such a terrible creature of habit. Since it's already taken apart. You see that giant heat sink in the back there? That little black part that's attached to it that this phone refuses to focus on because Samsung is stupid. That's the output chip to actually send the signal to a speaker. Much like any other tube amp, especially, if you don't have the amp hooked up to an external source, all that power just sits there and sits there until it ends up cooking the output. And so that's what happened. this long-haired idiot. Cook the output. Then, Jesus Christ, you are way too close to the edge. I just got you and haven't even used you yet, and I'm already trying to break you. That's not a good sign. One thing that I want to test out, because I didn't even think of it when I got this, was built-in effects loop. I've only really just understood the value of an effects loop within, I'd say, the last few weeks. Basically, what you can do... where is that other thing? This is another Dorcas thing that I probably spent too much money... Oh dear. And that was secondhand, too. What you can do with this thing is, if you have any really noisy pedals, like distortion, what you do is, before you get to those noisy pedals, you send your input signal into this end, comes at the send line, you then put all of your effects into that loop, bring it to the return line, and then you send it through the output, which goes to either the rest of your pedals or to your amp. And you can use this gate up here to basically get rid of all the noise in the pedal chain that you don't want to listen to. That's one thing you can do with a send and return like that. Or the other thing is an effects loop. It kind of does a similar thing, except rather than getting rid of noise, it can actually run your effects in parallel to the rest of your settings on here, instead of having everything go through one solitary input, and then basically every sound in that line ends up coloring everything else before it goes into the amp, and then the amp on top of that will end up coloring that signal. Having the effects loop there, you can now basically keep that separate, so you can basically blend two very distinct guitar sounds through one amp. And I know JHS, they have a video on running effects in parallel. It's a really cool video. I need to pick up a friend of mine in town. We're gonna go driving around for a bit, and then I'll check this thing out when I get back.
So, like, I was trying to figure out what happened in my shopping cart earlier, eh? Like, I was just out doing some shopping, and I left my groceries out in the parking lot, eh? And I went to grab a record at the record store, eh? And then I came back out, and my shopping cart was gone, eh? And, like, I don't know, I think I might have found it, eh? I think it might be that one up there, eh? Or wait a minute, or is it one of those ones over there, eh? Oh no. So they told me, like, hey there, bud, let's go down to the golf course, eh? Maybe we could play a few holes. I get down to the golf course and they got the whole place closed, eh? Like, I don't know if today's a good day for golf, though. It'd sure be fun trying to find your golf ball in the middle of this mess, eh? But you know what's always a good day for? Eating a burrito!
I knew that this was going to be a different beast from the Micro Terror. So far, I'm a little bit disappointed. I'm not going to lie. I mean, look at these redonkulous settings that I have right now. This is basically the exact opposite of how I had everything set on the Micro Terror, but I kind of have to do it this way, at least from what I've seen so far. You just have to check out the absolutely stellar sound that's... Get out of the way, you useless dingus. I don't even know why I got you. I just want to show you the madness that comes out of this thing when I try and use it the way it's supposed to. Just get a load of this nonsense. The more I try and adjust anything, the more this random noise just keeps happening. Like, playing higher up. Not too big of a deal, right? Sounds like a pretty nice distorted bass tone to me. Ah, there it is. Just all of a sudden, it feels like that huge hit of feedback just comes through. Well, then check it out on the lower notes. That's supposed to be a low E, but for some reason, it just keeps playing this high G sharp harmonic, and it comes through so strong that you can barely hear the low E at all. See, I'm expecting a nice low. That's not an E. What the hell am I singing? I can't even hit that note. It's beyond my low range. Maybe if I was trying a little harder, really dig into my inner Johnny Cash, get that really, whatever. It's supposed to be in, and this harmonic just keeps coming through like, and it's just. I'm not quite. I knew this amp was not going to be the same as the Micro Terror, and that's kind of a part of what gravitated me towards it. Was I did want to adventure into something different, but I kind of feel like I dropped my money on something that I can't use. And compared to a lot of other Orange stuff, this is definitely not the most expensive thing I ever bought. Including shipping, I managed to get this thing for $200 even. I'm sure if I tried plugging a guitar into it, there might be some different. It'd help if I could form proper sentences. I might get some different results out of it. So far, I'm not the most keen on this thing. But, there's still other things that I want to try. I haven't tried the effects loop yet. Maybe I can get some better results doing it that way. Honestly, if I had a choice between using this or taking the external output on this tiny little thing, and yes, it does have an external output, I think I'd rather take the Crush Mini. And I didn't think I would ever say that about this little thing. It does have a speaker built in. It's not a great speaker. And as a standalone amp combo amp, whatever. As a standalone combo amp, it is not the greatest thing in the world by any stretch of the imagination. But to use as a head, it's actually pretty decent. This thing, on the other hand, I miss this thing. It's all your bloody fault. I switched up tactics. I went from my 6-string Ibanez bass over there to this thing. It's an ESP LTD. It's a lucky pawn shop find that I found for not a whole lot of money. Weighs a stinking ton. But it's a really nice guitar. Sounds really good. I apparently got the high E string hooked on a fret somehow doing that guitar flip. Way down at the 2nd fret. Holy I've been trying this thing out. And this is what happens when you don't know what you're doing. I've been trying to find some kind of setting that'll do anything. See, that's the problem. There's no real clarity with this amp. at all. It's just kind of like everything just kind of goes bleh. Maybe if you were a lead guitarist, which I am definitely not a lead guitarist in the slightest, maybe somewhere in there, if you really wanted a different tone to kind of stand out against the rhythm guitars, it might be beneficial for doing something like that. Like I figured, do the opposite of what I was doing before. I turned the volume all the way down, cranked the shape, so I'm hoping to get more treble than bass, and then just do something with the gain to, make it punchy and actually kind of stand out. And then that feedback just comes back again, so I don't really know what to do about it. Let's crank this distortion up. Will that make things better or worse? Made things infinitely worse. I don't really know what the differences are between the Micro Terror and the Micro Dark, but there must be some pretty big differences if this is the kind of change that's really come out of it, because I absolutely love the Micro Terror. I'm finding it very hard to love the Micro Dark. I'm even having a lot of trouble respecting the Micro Dark so far. I still need to try out the effects loop. That might show some kind of promise, but as it stands, this thing's not looking too good. So I might just be the biggest idiot on the face of the earth. No smart comments. But, yeah. I didn't realize this whole time that my wah pedal was on. So now that I've shut it off, massive difference. And I originally thought it was all the fault of the amp and just having a different... What the hell is the word? Typology? No, that can't be right. Now that I know what the actual problem was, I want to go back to where I started. Oh, Jesus. Let's see how much of a difference this beast makes. This is the mad little beast. Little beast, I mean, look at the size of this monster. He's got a big old booty. Uh-oh. No, that's not the input jack, that's the patch cord. Damn it, I was trying not to spend money on music stuff. Now whatever, it'll do for now. Let's take this sucker down to the end of the runway and see what she'll do. Hey! No massive feedback. That's what happens when your finger slips off the neck. Or just the string. my nano pog. What a difference one pedal makes. It's completely changed my view on this thing. Like, I do think the Micro Terror, it's still got more brightness to it. It's still got more bite to it. Like, I could get some really wild sounds out of the Micro Terror, but you know what? Now that I've actually given this thing another shot and realized what the actual issue was, I'm starting to come around to this thing. I don't know. I might find a way to make this work. I still haven't come around to testing the effects loop yet. You know, I just want to make sure that I wire it up properly, and it doesn't look like this thing came with an instruction manual, so I'm going to have to do some research before trying that out. What can I say? Within like 2 minutes, my opinion on this thing is completely flipped. And I'm very grateful for that. Yes, I didn't waste my money! Booyah! Spending the last hour or so kind of rearranging my setup while listening to YouTube videos, scaling things down a little bit, just for a little demonstration. I'll use this amp another time. I'm just going to go through. This is just a simple volume pedal, a boost pedal, my nano pog. You can get some really awesome octave up effects with that thing. This pedal tracks incredibly well. My guilty pleasure distortion pedal here, the Boss PD1. Good old-fashioned Dunlop Crybaby wah. I'm just going to set this amp to noon. I'm going to do the same thing with this, just to show you just how badly I messed this thing up. I'm going to see if I can get any volume out of this thing at this point, because it will still work intermittently, at least the last time I tried to use it, but it's in rough shape. And I'm just gonna set the dials on this thing to noon as well. I think they're pretty close to it now. Hopefully that'll give us a good comparison. Let's go with 7 strings. Why the hell not? Oh my god, that is so horribly out of tune. Where's my tuna? Give me my tuna. More tuna. I know why it's giving me G sharp. Yeah. Come on, guitar, quit messing with me. Send. I need to figure out exactly how to do this. Go in like normal. Then send would go to the first pedal in the chain. So, you know what? I think I'll keep that plugged into the volume pedal. With that big yellow cable. Oh, not today, Mel 9. You're gonna get used in another video later. I need to borrow your cable. Yep, that's send. There. It's back this way. See how quickly even just a handful of pedals can turn into a plate of spaghetti if you're not careful? Moment of truth. You liar, I wanted that clean while it was still on. I wish this thing had an indicator light of some kind. That would be nice, but what can you do? As Anthony Kiedis from the Red Hot Chili Peppers once said, we're gonna kick the bass in your face and make you want to jack off. I've got to hook up the poor Micro Terror, and this is just gonna be so sad. I'm not looking forward to this. But this is what we're doing. I still get to slap at the bias. Honestly, I don't even think this is going to come in, but we'll see. I'm not hearing anything. No wonder nothing's working.
You're not hooked up to an effects loop anymore. Maybe you should do something about that.
Oh my god. It's definitely sound. This is when it's actually working. Do you hear that clang? That's why I love running bass through guitar amps. You just... Can you tell I haven't played in a few days? What can I say? I'm digging this. One thing I'm not digging though is Reaper not showing me how far along my progress is on this track. That would be nice. Okay, at least I haven't been clipping, so that's good. I remember the last time I was playing this thing, it was hissing uncontrollably, and the volume would just randomly die out. The fact that it hasn't done that yet, it's like making me second guess everything. I do still love the Micro Dark, but I don't think anything will ever replace the love I have for the Micro Terror. You know, I know the bigger amps, you know, they've got like 10 knobs as compared to 3, and you can do a lot of very precise tone dialing and that kind of stuff with them. But I also don't have $2,000 to just drop on an amp. So the fact that I can get this kind of sound, a tiny little amp like this, what, I got this for $180 secondhand on Kijiji. Brand new. I'm pretty sure there's still only like $250 at most. Now, I'm just wondering how bad is this amp really damaged? Because so far it's been great without a hitch. Going back to the 7. Hopefully this thing has stayed relatively in tune. I don't know if the volume's starting to die off now, but it doesn't seem quite as responsive. Granted, I also turned the boost off, but... So what I learned from that, other than my bar chords on guitar definitely still need a lot of work, even after I don't even know how many years of playing now. Shut up, don't ask, it's not important. I actually really like how well that effects loop kind of cleaned everything up. I mean, it didn't crap out at all when I was playing the bass, but yeah, you heard it cut out there on the guitar, and that is really unfortunate, because like I said, I really do love this amp, and I have enjoyed that amp for quite a while now. But, you know, I did it bad. It's really unfortunate. One of these days, I do plan on getting it fixed. This has been such an incredible piece of equipment, and for something that small to create such an awesome sound out of it. I've heard some people say it's not a good band amp, that they have trouble keeping up with the volume of a full band. I've never experienced that problem with this thing. You know, before COVID happened, I was playing bass in a punk band, and you know, COVID kind of screwed things up, and then all the other band members kind of ended up moving away. But before that big move happened, I remember taking this amp and, you know, this cab over here to our final band practice together, and I was just playing my bass through this, nothing else. And it was such a great fit for what we were doing. And not only that, I could hear myself very clearly over two very loud guitars and a drum kit playing just through this. So, you know, when other people say that this amp isn't good for band situations like that, I 100% disagree. You know, you get a lot of sound out of this thing for just 20 watts. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Rest in peace for now. You've earned your due.